Before you scroll, pause for just a moment. This message didn't reach you randomly. Archangel Michael says your Father in heaven has something important to tell you, and your heart already knows it's meant for you. Beloved soul, pause for a moment and allow yourself to be fully present, because what is reaching you now is not an accident and not something meant for everyone. This message carries a familiarity that feels gentle yet powerful, like a presence you recognize even before you understand it. Archangel Michael speaks with calm authority, not with urgency that creates fear, but with urgency that comes from love. He says your Father in heaven has been watching you quietly, closely, and with deep understanding, and today his love has found a way to reach your heart again. In heaven, there is no confusion, no unfinished emotion, no sense of loss the way it exists on earth. There is clarity, peace, and continuity. Your Father stands there whole and free, not as you last remember him, but as someone restored to peace. He is not defined by illness, pain, or absence. He is defined by love. And that love has never stopped flowing toward you. Archangel Michael opens this moment not as a warning, not as a command, but as an invitation to listen without tension, without fear, and without rushing your feelings. If you feel something subtle stirring inside you right now, a warmth in your chest or a heaviness that feels calm instead of painful, that is not coincidence. That is recognition. The soul recognizes truth before the mind finds words for it. Your Father knows the strength you were forced to grow into after he was gone. He knows the responsibilities you carried quietly. He knows the way you learned to make decisions without reassurance, the way you stood firm even when you felt unsure. None of that went unnoticed. Heaven watched you grow through seasons that felt lonely, confusing, or overwhelming. Your Father saw how you adapted, how you learned to survive and then not shout but rests deeply and steadily. Archangel Michael says your Father does not look back wishing things were different. He looks at you now and understands the journey it took to become who you are. This message arrives now because timing matters in heaven. Archangel Michael says your heart has reached a place where reassurance can settle instead of reopening wounds. This is not meant to pull you backward into grief. It is meant to stabilize you where you are now. Your Father does not want you to carry his absence as a weight. He wants you to carry his love as quiet strength. There were moments when you wished you could ask him something, moments when you wanted advice, approval, or simply to be understood without explaining yourself. Those moments did not disappear. In heaven, sincerity is never wasted. Your unspoken thoughts were felt. Your emotions were known. Your Father understands the choices you made with the knowledge you had at the time. He understands the paths you took to protect yourself, to grow, to keep moving forward. Archangel Michael speaks gently but clearly now, saying your Father wants you to release the silent pressure you placed on yourself. The pressure to always be strong. The pressure to never stumble. The pressure to have everything figured out. That pressure was never placed on you by love. It grew from circumstance, not expectation. In heaven, worth is not earned through perfection. It is recognized through being real. And you are always real. Imagine a presence beside you that does not demand anything from you. It does not ask you to prove yourself. It does not rush you to feel a certain way. It simply stays. That is the presence your Father's message carries. He is not coming to correct your past. He is coming to reassure your present. He wants you to know that the person you are now is understood and accepted. Your Father remembers the small details others never noticed. The way you stayed quiet when you were processing. 2. Even when it felt heavy. The way you kept going when stopping would have been easier. These details matter in heaven. Archangel Michael says love pays attention to what the world overlooks. There is a reason this message feels personal. It is personal. Love speaks directly. Your Father knows your heart beyond appearances. He knows your doubts and your courage. He does not come with instructions or expectations. He comes with reassurance. He wants you to trust that you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. This moment is not about memory alone. It is about connection. Love does not end when life changes form. It transforms. It becomes quieter, deeper, and more constant. Your Father's love is not something you need to search for in signs or symbols. It lives in the values you carry, the empathy you show, the resilience you developed. Archangel Michael says this message is meant to slow you down just enough to feel grounded. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are becoming. Heaven recognizes the growth that came through difficulty. Your Father sees the wisdom that formed through experience. And there is peace in Him knowing that you are still moving forward. Let this part of the message rest gently within you. You do not need to analyze it or force emotion. You are simply being reminded of a bond that never broke. Your Father's love did not stop when life changed. It continued in a form that supports you quietly, steadily, and faithfully. Stay here a little longer, beloved soul, because heaven never rushes what is meant to heal deeply. Archangel Michael continues to speak with a calm presence that settles the heart instead of stirring it. He says your Father's message is not a momentary comfort but a reassurance meant to walk with you through your everyday life. This is not about creating emotion for a moment and letting it fade. This is about restoring something steady within you, something that helps you breathe easier and trust yourself more as you move forward. From heaven, your Father sees your journey with clarity that was not possible on earth. He understands the seasons you walked through after He was gone, the way life asked you to grow faster than you expected, the way you learned to make choices without guidance and still kept your integrity intact. There is no disappointment in His awareness. There is deep respect. He respects how you adapted, how you learned, how you kept going even when answers were unclear. Archangel Michael says this respect is part of the message you are receiving now. There were moments when you doubted yourself quietly, moments when you wondered if you were making the right decisions, moments when you felt unsure but chose to move forward anyway. Your Father saw those moments clearly. He does not define you by hesitation. He defines you by courage. Courage is not the absence of doubt, it is the willingness to keep going with honesty. In heaven, that kind of courage is valued deeply. Your Father is proud not because you never struggled, but because you stayed sincere in the middle of uncertainty. Archangel Michael gently reminds you that your Father does not measure your life by visible success or comparison with others. He measures it by heart. He sees the kindness you show when no one notices, the patience you develop through responsibility, the empathy that grew because you understood loss. These qualities carry weight in heaven. They matter more than titles, more than recognition, more than achievements. Your Father wants you to know that who you are becoming matters more than what you accomplish. There is something your Father wants you to release now, something that has followed you quietly for a long time. The pressure to always be strong. The belief that you must carry everything alone. The habit of questioning whether you are doing enough. Archangel Michael says this pressure was never placed on you by love. It came from circumstances, not expectation. In heaven, you are not evaluated by endurance alone. You are valued for authenticity. And you are allowed to rest. Imagine your Father's presence now not as something heavy or emotional, but as something calm and grounding, like a steady warmth that brings clarity instead of pain. This is how His love reaches you now. He does not come to reopen wounds or pull you back into sadness. He comes to remind you that you are supported, understood, and trusted. Archangel Michael says your Father understands every season of your life, including the ones that felt confusing, lonely, or overwhelming. He does not judge those seasons. He honors them for the growth they produced. There were times when you wished for His advice, times when you wanted reassurance that you were choosing the right path. Your Father understands that longing completely. From heaven, He sees the larger picture that was hidden from you at the time. He wants you to know that many of the choices you questioned were shaping your strength and awareness. You were learning to trust yourself. That learning mattered more than certainty ever could. Archangel Michael speaks now about peace, not as something distant or conditional, but as something you are allowed to feel even while life continues unfolding. Peace is not the absence of responsibility. It is the presence of understanding. Your Father's message carries this understanding. He does not want you to carry His absence like a wound. He wants you to carry His love as confidence. Loss did not end your story. It refined it. Your Father sees the way you care deeply, even when you do not always express it openly. He sees the way you think before acting, the way you consider consequences. The way you try to choose what feels right instead of what feels easy. These traits were not formed by accident. They were shaped through love, responsibility, and experience. Heaven recognizes them clearly. Archangel Michael says you are more grounded and capable than you often realize. There is also reassurance in this message about timing. Your Father understands that life does not always move according to plans or expectations. Delays do not mean failure. Pauses do not mean stagnation. Sometimes they mean preparation. Heaven does not rush growth. Your Father wants you to trust that your path is unfolding in ways that make sense, even when clarity comes slowly. If there are moments when you feel tired, uncertain, or overwhelmed, know that these feelings do not mean you are weak. They mean you are human. Your Father does not expect constant strength from you. He respects honesty. Archangel Michael says heaven values balance. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to reflect. You are allowed to take care of yourself without guilt. Your Father also wants you to understand that moving forward does not mean leaving love behind. Growth is not disloyalty. Joy is not disrespect. Living fully does not erase connection. In heaven, love expands when you allow yourself to experience life openly. Your Father wants you to experience happiness without questioning whether you are allowed to have it. You are allowed. As this part of the message settles, notice how it does not demand action or change. It simply invites understanding. Understanding brings stability. Stability brings confidence. Your Father wants you to move forward without constantly questioning your worth or your timing. Those questions have already been answered. Hold this message gently, not tightly. Let it walk with you quietly. You do not need to revisit it constantly. It will return naturally when you need reassurance. That is how true support works. Heaven does not overwhelm the heart. It strengthens it slowly. Remain here for a little while longer, beloved soul, because this is where reassurance slowly turns into confidence and comfort begins to transform into quiet strength. Archangel Michael speaks again, not to repeat what has already been said, but to help you understand how this message is meant to live inside you beyond this moment. He says your Father's love was never meant to keep you looking back. It was meant to help you stand more firmly where you are now and move forward with greater trust in yourself. Your Father knows that life ahead of you still holds choices, responsibilities, and moments that may feel uncertain. He does not see this as something to fear. From heaven, He sees it as proof that your story is still unfolding. He sees the wisdom you have gained through experience, the patience you learned through difficulty, and the discernment that grew as you learned to listen to your own inner voice. Archangel Michael says your Father trusts that voice more than you realize. He trusts your judgment. He trusts your heart. There were times when you felt unsure of yourself, moments when you questioned whether you were strong enough, capable enough, or prepared enough for what life placed in front of you. Your Father understands those moments deeply. He does not see them as weakness. He sees them as evidence of awareness. Awareness means you care. Awareness means you think deeply before acting. In heaven, this is seen as maturity, not doubt. Your Father is proud of the way you consider your steps instead of rushing blindly forward. Archangel Michael gently explains that your Father does not expect you to live without fear or uncertainty. He understands that growth often feels uncomfortable. What He wants you to know is that fear does not mean you are on the wrong path. Sometimes fear simply means you are stepping into something new. Heaven does not ask you to have everything figured out before you begin. It asks you to move forward with honesty and integrity, qualities you already carry. Your Father wants you to trust the process of becoming. Life is not asking you to be perfect. It is asking you to be present. Every stage of your journey has shaped you for the next one, even the stages that felt confusing or slow. Archangel Michael says nothing was wasted. Even the moments you thought were delays were teaching you patience and clarity. Heaven sees progression where you sometimes see pause. There is also a message here about direction. Your Father does not want you to feel pressured to follow a path simply because it looks right to others. He wants you to choose what feels aligned with who you truly are. Authenticity matters more than approval. In heaven, living truthfully carries more weight than living impressively. Archangel Michael says you are allowed to choose a life that feels meaningful to you, even if it unfolds differently than you once imagined. Your Father understands that you have carried responsibility quietly for a long time. He knows you learned to be dependable early, to consider others, to stay steady even when support felt limited. While this strength served you, He also wants you to know that you do not need to carry everything alone anymore. Strength does not mean refusing help. Strength allows support. Heaven encourages balance, not exhaustion. Archangel Michael speaks with calm clarity now, reminding you that confidence does not come from control. It comes from trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in your ability to adapt. Trust in the understanding you have gained through life. Your Father believes you are capable of navigating what comes next, not because the path will always be smooth, but because you have learned how to respond thoughtfully to challenges. There may be moments ahead when old doubts resurface, when you wonder if you are moving too slowly or if others are further ahead. Your Father wants you to choose what feels aligned with who you truly are. Authenticity matters more than approval. In heaven, living truthfully carries more weight than living impressively. Archangel Michael says you are allowed to choose a life that feels meaningful to you, even if it unfolds wants you to release comparison. Comparison blurs perspective. Heaven does not measure your life against anyone else's. It measures sincerity, growth, and heart. And in those measures, you are doing well. Your Father also wants you to know that it is safe to hope again. Hope does not make you vulnerable in the way you fear. It opens you to possibility. Archangel Michael says your heart has been learning how to remain open without becoming overwhelmed. This balance is important. Heaven sees how carefully you protect what matters to you, and it respects that care. As this part of the message settles, notice how it does not demand change or action. It simply strengthens your inner footing. You are not being asked to rush into decisions or push yourself harder. You are being encouraged to trust the ground beneath your feet. Your Father's love supports that trust quietly, without pressure. There is also reassurance here about the future. Your Father does not see it as something uncertain or threatening. He sees it as space for growth. Space for learning. Space for moments of peace you have yet to experience. Archangel Michael says you do not need to fear what you cannot yet see. Clarity will come when you need it, not before. Your Father wants you to remember that progress is not always visible. Sometimes it happens internally before it appears externally. The way you think, the way you respond, the way you choose calm over reaction, these are signs of growth that heaven recognizes clearly. You are becoming more grounded, more aware, and more confident in ways that matter. Hold on to this understanding gently. You do not need to announce it or prove it. Let it influence you quietly. When it is consistent. It does not disappear when life becomes busy. It remains. You are allowed to trust yourself more than you have been. You are allowed to move forward without constantly second-guessing your worth or readiness. Heaven has already affirmed those things. Your Father's belief in you is steady, and that belief is meant to strengthen your own. Stay with this final moment, beloved soul, because heaven never closes a message without leaving the heart steadier than before. Archangel Michael speaks one last time, not with urgency, not with intensity, but with a calm certainty that gently settles everything that has been stirred. He says your Father's message was never meant to overwhelm you with emotion or keep you tied to the past. It was meant to bring you into alignment with peace, so that when you step back into your life, you do so feeling grounded, understood, and quietly supported. Your Father knows that life does not pause for moments like these. He knows that after this, you will return to your responsibilities, your routines, your thoughts, and your decisions. And that is exactly why this message came now. Not to pull you out of life, but to help you live it with a lighter heart. From heaven, He sees that you have already carried enough weight. He does not want you to add memory to that weight. He wants you to replace it with calm assurance. Archangel Michael says your Father wants you to remember this above all else: you are not required to hold on to pain in order to honor love. Love does not ask for suffering as proof. Love asks for presence. It asks for honesty. It asks for you to live fully, not cautiously. Your Father does not measure connection by how much you grieve. He measures it by how openly you live. And He wants you to live openly. There is a quiet sense of release moving through this message now. Release from the need to revisit old questions. Release from the habit of wondering whether you did enough or were enough. Release from the belief that you must always carry strength without rest. Your Father understands that strength without rest becomes burden. Heaven values balance. Archangel Michael reminds you that you are allowed to soften without becoming weak. Your Father also wants you to know that you do not need to search for signs to know He is at peace. Peace is not proven through events or symbols. It is known through stillness. And in heaven, His stillness is complete. There is nothing unresolved pulling at Him. What remains is love, calm, and trust in your journey. That trust is part of what He leaves with you now. As this message comes toward its completion, there is no dramatic ending, no sudden shift, no emotional demand. That is intentional. Heaven does not exit loudly. It leaves gently. Archangel Michael ensures that what remains with you is not heaviness, but clarity. Not sadness, but steadiness. This is how closure looks when it is rooted in understanding rather than loss. Your Father wants you to step forward with confidence that is quiet, not forced. Confidence that comes from knowing you are supported rather than needing to prove anything. He believes in your ability to continue growing, learning, and adjusting as life unfolds. He does not expect perfection. He respects effort. He honors sincerity. And He trusts the person you are becoming. There may be days ahead when life feels ordinary again, when this moment feels distant. That does not mean the message has faded. It means it has settled. True reassurance does not stay loud. It becomes part of your inner stability. When you respond calmly instead of reacting, when you trust yourself a little more, when you allow rest without guilt, this message is working within you. Archangel Michael says your Father does not want you to hold on to this as a single emotional experience. He wants it to become a quiet reference point. Something you return to without effort when you need grounding. You do not need to replay words. You do not need to recreate feelings. Understanding has already taken root. Your Father also wants you to know that you are allowed to move into new chapters of life without hesitation. New relationships, new goals, new versions of yourself are. This final part settles. Notice how the atmosphere feels calmer, not heavier. This is intentional. Heaven does not leave the heart unsettled. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of peace, ensuring that what has been spoken does not linger as noise, but rests as assurance. There is nothing more you need to do with this moment. Nothing to analyze. Nothing to carry consciously. Your Father leaves you with a truth that does not need repetition. You are trusted. You are capable. You are doing better than you think. And you are supported in ways that do not demand your attention but strengthen you quietly. His love is not something you need to hold on to tightly. It is something that walks with you naturally. Let this be complete. Let it be enough. Let it return you to your life feeling steadier than before. You are not alone in your journey, even when it feels quiet. And you never have been. If this message touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video and share it with someone who needs this reassurance today.